Welcome back to Market Movers and the Big Story Breakdown. As we keep an eye on the headlines affecting the broader market, we're also keeping a close eye on social and all things crypto. Earlier this month, GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen posted a photo with Michael Saylor, co-founder and chairman of Strategy, the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. Now, Cohen, who joined GameStop's board in 2021, has focused on cutting costs and streamlining operations to keep the company profitable. GameStop has a $4.6 billion cash reserve and has used it for investments. Now, according to sources, Saylor is currently not involved in GameStop's discussions about crypto investments. Now, Cohen maintaining his public silence regarding any specific plans for a Bitcoin investment. Despite market speculation, GameStop has not released an official statement about potential crypto purchases. And last week, asset management firm Strive announcing that it plans to help at least one firm per sector adopt the Bitcoin standard, and that it would be doing so to companies its clients hold through ETFs. And Strive sending GameStop an engagement letter regarding Bitcoin treasury adoption, which Cohen acknowledged he has received. Bitcoin Investor Week is underway in New York City, and joining us this morning at the New York Stock Exchange is Matt Cole, CEO of Strive. So Matt, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Remy.
Well, first and foremost, this engagement letter that you sent over to GameStop, tell us about the picture and the proposal.
Yeah, so last week we said we're going to engage with at least one company per sector where we think there's an opportunity for them to drive better long-run value to shareholders by adopting a Bitcoin standard. And typically we would be doing more of this in the back half of the year. That's the standard engagement season, quote unquote, for corporate governance. But we're aware that GameStop's actively considering doing something in this direction right now. And so it was a very timely engagement because what we were seeing was that they were looking to do both Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And we felt like a bold action could actually propel GameStop from its current meme stock to actually expand it beyond just a meme stock into setting it up for long-run success by going all in. And so what that means is that capital deployment, when you spend cash, it should be a Bitcoin hurdle rate, and if it doesn't, you shouldn't spend the cash. So what that means is shut almost every single store at GameStop because they're still operating at a loss. Invest the current cash, but also future cash through stock ATMs, convertible bond issuance. Go all in on Bitcoin to become the premier gaming sector company on the Bitcoin standard. We think that would benefit both current investors the more retail investors in GameStop. We think that would make them a lot of money over the long run, and longer term investors like Strive's holders in our ETFs.
And speaking of which, there's been a lot of focus, obviously, on Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy. So when it comes to Bitcoin treasury holdings, you mentioned that your plan is to do this per sector for the companies that are held in the ETF. But give us an understanding of your long-range vision here.
Yeah. So our long-range vision is that there's been a lack of a savings vehicle in the United States. That cash has a negative real rate of return. So anytime that you're holding cash, you're losing purchasing power. So companies, whether they're cash cows like the Mag 7 stocks that are spitting off profits, doing dividends and buybacks, they would likely have better long-run returns and hedge against future risks around AI by acquiring a Bitcoin war chest. Struggling companies like GameStop also could take advantage of this and get a massive war chest of Bitcoin to deploy strategically in the future in pursuit of our mission. So we think that most companies would benefit by putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and the ones that do it faster will be long-run winners. And so that's our aim, to help at least one company per sector position themselves for the long run.
And Matt, when we take a look at GameStop as a company, there's a lot of focus on it as a meme stock, as you mentioned. So walk us through the proposal for this company that you laid out in your letter and the framework.
Yeah, so the framework is that GameStop has an ultimate blessing, and the ultimate blessing is that as a struggling company, it has a lot of interest, and it has a lot of interest for good reason. These retail traders, they outsmarted Wall Street. It's amazing, right? And they saw something. They saw a massive amount of short that they together could band and defeat the quote-unquote smart money. Well, they were the smart money. They defeated Wall Street, right? And so now you have this coalition of people around this company. Well, that allows it to actually be one of the ultimate Bitcoin treasury companies, which would make them a lot of money. I think if this actually plays out in a major way, not in a way where GameStop buys 1,000 Bitcoin, which would probably pump the stock a little bit, but a major way all in, I think it could be this mother of all short squeezes, goes up, but not just in the short run. It could drive a long run value because of the amount of Bitcoin that they would be able to hold, which would benefit our shareholders massively, benefit the retail crowd massively. And I think you think about these two communities, the Bitcoin community, which is a super passionate community, the GameStop community, super passionate community, you put them together, and I think that's the makings of something great. And so it made a lot of sense for our first engagement.
And Matt, you're in New York City to attend Bitcoin Investor Week, and when we take a look at what's been happening across crypto, not just this week, but in 2025, we saw Bitcoin hit an all-time high above 109,000, and right now we are below some key technical levels here. So for naysayers or critics regarding Bitcoin treasury holdings, what would you say to them?
I say right now is the perfect opportunity to buy. That when everybody's scared is the time that it's the best to buy, and I'm not calling a short-term bottom. I have no idea what the short-term bottom will be. What I do actually have conviction in is that it's going to hold above its previous all-time high, so call it the 70K range. I think that's the downside of what I would say is likely or possible, and I don't know that it goes that low, but if you think about a risk-return opportunity, something's trading below 90K and 20K to the downside, 10x plus to the upside, that's a great risk return. And this will actually be much harder if Bitcoin was at 250K or 300K. So now's the time, if you actually believe in the long run fundamentals of Bitcoin like we do, we're a long run investor, it's the perfect time to buy, but it's also the time where certain people are going to be afraid. But if you've been in this game long enough, you'll know that Bitcoin always climbs in a wall of worry. And yes, it's gone back to levels not seen since last November, but in November it was in the 60K range. It's actually still higher than that. And the biggest risk to Bitcoin was regulation risk. That risk is gone. And so I think this is a great time to load up for long-term holdings.
Okay, Matt, well, great having you back on the show. Thank you so much for sharing all of your insights, and we look forward to continuing the conversation here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.